Waiting on a notification. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record, the People's Podcast. This afternoon, we have a great guest, our brother who was trained in Chicago, Illinois, a hardworking soldier and a good believer, Brother Daniel. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
First of all, my sister sends the greetings, Sister Miriam. Assalamu alaikum.
Send her the greetings, dear brother.
Yes, sir. Brother Daniel, the first thing I want to know is, when did you first hear the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Going back as a little boy, I only went to churches 3 times as a child, age 6, 7, 11 years of age. Even though my great-grandfather were Baptist preachers, when I first heard of the minister through media, the day after his Madison Square Garden lecture, I was 13 years old in 7th grade. And I was eating breakfast, getting ready for school. And I was watching the news and they had the minister on, Farrakhan. I said, who is this guy? When I was listening to the clips of what he was saying in Madison Square Garden, I said, man, this man speak bolder than Jesse Jackson, Martin Luther King. And this was such a unique individual when I looked at it at that time, because I'm used to hearing Jesse Jackson, Martin Luther King. So around October 5th, 1986, where I grew up on the west side of Chicago, called Abler Homes, and Jane Addams, I was helping my dad washing his car. He had a 1978 Cougar. And I heard brothers drilling, left face, right face, Farrakhan, Farrakhan. And I said myself, wait a minute, this the man that I saw on the news last year.
Yes, sir.
I was in 8th grade. I was in 8th grade at that time, 14 years old. So the brothers came by my dad's car, and I had a Jerry curl at the time. And they called me little brother, but I was big for my age, but they called me little brother. So my dad brought tickets to hear the minister, Savior's Day 1986, at the UIC Pavilion. And I came there, and I remember Imam Walter Dean was there. After hearing the minister in 1986 at age 14, I said, I want to be with that man.
Praise be to Allah.
So after hearing it, I was saying to myself, this is my man. I said, I was like, forget Jesse Jackson, because I was more what you call the rebellious slaves.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
High school, grade school, before hearing the minister, when I first heard of the minister, called St. Callistus. It was a racist Catholic school, and I was that type of individual. I spoke out when I was dealing with white folks who were saying racial slurs. I called them names back or dealt with them physically. So in high school, around my sophomore year, 1988-89, I was kind of cutting class at the time. And I bumped into a brother. He had a Los Angeles Raiders jacket on and had FOI in the back, and I was familiar with it. I said, wait a minute, that's somebody from the nation. I said, excuse me, brother, you with Farrakhan? He said, yes, sir. And I asked him how to join the nation, and he told me come to Monday orientation. And that brother who I came across was Brother Aaron Muhammad, the son of Brother Salim and Sister Celestina Muhammad.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And my first time buying the Final Call newspaper and visiting Mosque Mariam was June 25th, 1989. I brought it from Brother Leotis X. May Allah be pleased with him. He invited me out that Sunday to hear the minister. And I was 17. Go back around before my 17th birthday, pardon me. I was waiting for the bus by my high school, Kenwood Academy, and I saw the brothers walking. And I said, I was with a friend of mine at the time named Johnny. I was saying, hey man, that's Farrakhan. And I gave the minister the greetings. He returned the greetings back. That friend of mine at that time, Johnny Richmond, he was saying something, repeating what another friend of mine at that time said, something derogatory about the minister. So I responded back in another language, so to speak, F what he talking about.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I shook the minister's hand. I was 16 going on 7, just before my 17th birthday anniversary. And going to that time, being invited to the mosque that first time, Mosque Mariam, I was so blown away. My first visit in Mosque Mariam as a young man, a walking fool, a high school student at that time. I didn't accept at that time because I was had my share of sin, so to speak. So around December of 1989, I was at Jackson Park Hospital with my mom and my grandmother visiting my grandfather. He just had a stroke. And I told my mom, I said, Mom, the mosque's not too far for you. I can come to orientation. But the funny thing, Brother Joshua, I had the days mixed up. It was a Wednesday night. And I came to the mosque. The brother on post told me, you got to come Monday. So I just sat around. My mom had some scissors. She was cutting my grandfather's toenails. So she told the sister what was going on. They told my mother, you go get the sisters back after the meeting.
Yes, sir.
And while I was sitting down, what have you, after got searched, and I bumped into our editor-in-chief at the time, Abdul Wali Muhammad.
Praise be.
And he looked at me, he said, brother, forget about Monday Night Football. Monday night here is the real man's night. And I was like, okay, I was blown away.
Yes, sir.
But I was determined to come to the nation. That was in my junior year. So around Martin Luther King's birthday anniversary, we was out of school. I was watching Eyes on the Prize. They had Malcolm on. My mom looked dead at me. I never forget what she said to me. She said, Daniel, you coming to Monday night orientation. And I was like, it's time now for me. Because why I say that, Brother Joshua, majority of my so-called friends at high school, one flunked out of high school, one had got kicked out of high school, and I was that walking fool. But I was gravitating towards the nation. And that following Monday night, I didn't go to no Sunday lecture or anything to shake no minister's hand. But January 22nd, I literally walked to the door of Mosque Mariam and went to orientation. And who was teaching it at the time? Older brother Ronald Muhammad.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And the way he did the orientation classes, brother, it was humorous, but serious, but made you want to come to the nation. And I came in orientation, I had a big goatee, and I had the perm in my hair.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I remember the minister came to orientation class. We stood up and I remember he looked at me. He said, brother, get that haircut, brother. And after I made up my mind, I said, this is where I belong. I got home that night. My dad picked me up for orientation, got home, went home. I had an electric razor at home. shave that goatee off. I said, need to get this haircut. So that Tuesday, I remember going to my aunt's house. My grandfather was home from the hospital. So his brother was cutting his hair. I asked my great uncle, I said, Uncle Simmy, can you cut my hair? He said, sure, boy, I'll cut your hair. He's how you want it. I said, cut it all off, Uncle Simmy. He cut it all off. He said, hey, boy, Booker told me you with Farrakhan. That's a good man. He cut it all off. So I came that Wednesday night, the minister was there. If you ever see that lecture, question and answer sessions, January 24th, 1990, I was sitting in the front row on the brother's side.
Yes, sir.
17 years old, clean shaven, all that perm cut off my hair.
Praise be to Allah.
And I remember we was just getting through doing finals for high school. I was getting ready to come to orientation that following Monday. Before that, I had came from, doing a little workout with the brothers over at MUI early Saturday morning during that time. I stopped at my aunt's house, my Uncle Gus, may he rest in peace. Despite his condition that he was involved in, drug addiction, he praised me for doing the right thing. And he talked with me for me. We sitting down. He was reading the Final Call newspaper. I had just got one from one of the brothers after workout, and he praised me. So that Monday, while I was doing my Savior's Lab, I was at my aunt's house during that time. It was finals for high school, my junior year. I was doing my Savior's letter. And remember, I kept messing up because I was kind of chastising my cousin's children. And then some people in my family was asking me, what you doing? I'm like, none of your business. I'm doing my Savior's letter.
Yes, sir.
When I took the Savior's letter, brother who was the secretary at the time named Joseph Sevenax, he told me, he said, brother, you ain't, this what you have to do, this, that, blah, blah, blah. And me and another brother was sitting doing our Savior's letter over. The Supreme Captain, when he was the Assistant Supreme, he came to speak to our orientation class, and he was discussing when Brother Oliver X from Los Angeles got murdered by the Los Angeles police.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He was talking about that. And I'm like, this Farrakhan's son, he was talking. And how the Supreme rails.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I was like, he got his daddy's spirit. I was thinking to myself, he got his father's spirit. But he has that other spirit to kill the enemies of Muhammad. And I, at the time, after orientation was over, I was waiting for my father to pick me up. I didn't have no overcoat. I had a Minnesota Viking starter jacket over my suit.
Okay, yes, sir.
And before that, he was speaking to us. He wanted us to help do security. The minister was speaking to DeKalb, Illinois at Northern University.
Yes, sir.
He wanted the processing brothers. So I came across him face to face waiting for my father. He said, brother, where your overcoat? And I had my Minnesota Vikings jacket with my slave name on the back and, the jersey, number 65 on the sleeve, or what have you. And I said, I don't have no overcoat. I said, I got this coat on. So I remember after talking, he said, you coming to DeKalb? I said, yes, sir. So my father was like, who's that you talking to? I said, Minister Farrakhan's son, Dad. So got in. That next day, we went to DeKalb. I was in the car with a brother that was processed. Now look at this, Brother Joshua.
Yes, sir.
They said that tension was high at Northern University when those who was protesting against the minister, they didn't want the minister there. And when the Supreme told us we might be in a fight, I was like, well, I'm ready. That was my attitude.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And the brother who I was driving with, he had in his car golf clubs, couple lead pipes, baseball bats. So I was like, well, hell, that's up my alley. And I was like, I'm ready to attack, ready to get down if somebody put their hands on the minister. I was expecting to come to DeKalb, seeing the FOI has something in their hand if something jumps off.
Yes, sir.
But I didn't see that. It disarmed me. But the brother who took me in, he gave me some instructions. He said, brother, make sure you keep the hallways clear. And I just obeyed. I said, yes, sir. And it was a bunch of white boys, old, one of them, they was like, yeah, barrel arm. And I said in a stern way, I said, excuse me, you have to keep the hallway clear. And this big lumberjack white boy, about 6'5" or 6'6", came up to me trying to intimidate me, use his size to intimidate me. Excuse me? I looked right dead in his eye. I don't fear no one but Allah. I said, sir, you have to keep the hallway clear.
Yes, sir.
And that white boy backed off, saw I was serious. And they kept the hallway clear. Now, before the minister came on, it was a little commotion on the sister side. And me and the brothers saw what was going on. It was Caucasian man. He had a black girlfriend who refused to get searched, and the white boy trying to intervene. He was talking crazy. So we told both of them, you don't like it, you have to go. So we threw him out. Threw the Caucasian man out and the black woman out.
Yes, sir.
And during that time, the day after DeKalb, when the minister spoke there, the minister was on the news the next morning. And I remember a few students, Caucasian students, was a Caucasian one was crying. They fondled me, they did this, crying and carrying on. And my mother, she said, you supposed to get searched with your so-and-so self. She was going off. And I had to laugh to myself. I said, go ahead, Ma, tell that white woman off.
Yes, sir.
And I was, Brother Josh, that experience during that time, I wasn't scared at that time. Mm-hmm. Now, my uncle Gus had just died. We had a funeral and we was at the repast. My uncle Booker, he was drinking that day and he saw me and he was crying like a baby. He hugged me. He said, man, I'm proud of you. You did the right thing. Join the moves. These other people in this family, they ain't doing nothing. I'm proud of you. He hugged me. Mm-hmm. And I was sharing this recently with Brother Benny. And he said, brother, that's Allah speaking through him, despite him drinking. And this same uncle, what he did for me while I was processing, gave me his personal copy of the autobiography of Malcolm X. That came out in the 60s, Brother Joshua.
Yes, sir.
I don't have it anymore. It got damaged. But he always brought the paper from the brothers, especially from Brother Leolis.
Okay.
And Brother Elijah, our pioneer brother. May Allah be pleased with both brothers.
Yes, sir.
And the trying times that I had with family accepting the teachings, I was over my grandmother's house. My grandmother told me, bring the minister over. My grandmother, I played the minister audio tape. It was Savior's Day 1990 when the sun rises to the west. Staying with her. He was drinking. Boy, turn that racist so-and-so off. We arguing like cats and dogs. And my grandma was like, what's going on? He was talking about the minister, what he'll do to the minister and what have you. My grandmother said, do you have your insurance paid up? Them Muslims will kill you. So, quick. And the second time he tried me, this is a registered Muslim. I was coming from a detail at the mosque on the pagan holiday Christmas, stopped over my aunt's house. He was over there, called himself cutting a piece of ham. He said, hey boy, get this to Farrakhan. I said, excuse me? What did you just say? We went at it, Brother Joshua, like Ali and Ernie Terrell, when Ernie Terrell called Muhammad Ali Cassius Clay.
Yes, sir.
And before my older cousin came between us, I had slapped him. But what gave him the message was he saw how serious I was. He haven't tried me anymore. And, you know, and when I accepted the teachings, Brother Joshua, I forgot to say this. Some of my friends at the time got the hell away from me. You know, excuse that terminology.
Yes, sir.
And, you know, I wasn't mad. I already knew where I was going and what I was planning to do as a follower of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad through Minister Farrakhan.
Yes, sir.
And I was, you know, even though I was a high school student, I was always consistent as a processing brother. Got a chance to, you know, to go where the minister was, you know, a few occasions as a young man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And the first time was also out of town, Dallas, Texas, at age 17. Brother who was in a rented car, it was a Lincoln. And the state troopers pulled us over, thought we were drug dealers. And I was a little fearful. But Allah took over my being to calm me down. But when they saw the suits and bow ties and the final call newspaper in the back seat, and the one who said, let them go, they were Farrakhan. They going to that Farrakhan thing wherever it was in Dallas, Texas at the time.
Yes, sir.
And even in Baltimore, I was still processing because I was processing for a pretty long time, you know, about 5 months or so. Because I was in high school and then, you know, you have them hard classes during that time.
Yes, sir. Brother Daniel, can I ask you a quick question, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Can we go back to Brother Aaron? What was it like being in high school with Brother Aaron, and how was it to have the young task force and the young believers presence for you being a young man? How important was that?
Okay. Let me clear this up right here. I was on the fringe of being on the task force.
Okay.
But my soldiering was on the west side of Chicago. You know, the streets I used to soldier in is with the Final Call newspaper in the west side.
Okay, yes, sir. Okay, beautiful. And what was it?
Town, Madison, Pulaski, Madison Central, North Avenue and Central, Chicago Avenue and Central.
Okay.
Going to your question with Brother Aaron, when I, you know, hit between him and his brother, they kept up with my process. Especially his brother Amir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And, you know, a brother who, I remember I was coming out of PE class, the brother who was in the locker room changing, he said, hey man, I see you talking with Brother Aaron. You joined the nation? I said, yes, sir. Oh man, you know, he was shaking, you know, he was proud of me. And, you know, I was pretty close with some of the brothers from the task force, like Brother Amzai, his blood brother,
yes,
Aaron, his brother Amir, and a few more brothers from the task force. I was pretty tight with them. You know, I had that type of mentality. You know, I know Brother Amzai told you when I used to watch out for him, when he had on the national with the crescent on there, I had to, you know, make sure none of those who call themselves disciples or what have you tried my brother.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you for that, Brother Daniel. Thank you for that, sir. Okay, so, excellent.
When I came to Baltimore, I got a chance to meet your uncle when he was the minister. I was processing, and your uncle told me at that time, Brother Jamil, he said, brother, make sure you get your ex, brother. I said, yes, sir. So when I finally decided to get my ex, was late July going to August, late July 1st. I was ready to recite. So this is the funny thing, Brother Joshua. When I was ready to recite, I was supposed to answer the questions. So the brother who I was ready to recite in front of, he just told me, said, brother, just, get ready for next Monday. So all that week, study. I didn't go to any Wednesday night meeting or Friday study group or Sunday meeting. So that following Monday, August 6, 1990, which be next month, my 30th anniversary.
Praise be to Allah. Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir.
I was 18 years old. I was the first brother who recited in front of me was a brother named Patrick. And I was sitting waiting, and he tapped me on the shoulder. They said, brother, won't you? I said, yes, sir. I was ready. So I stood at attention, recited, and then gave brother my information. Brother named William Muhammad, who used to be the secretary, may Allah be pleased with him. He asked me, brother, my slave name was Barres. And he said, brother, what kind of slave name is that, brother? And I said, brother, I don't know. But I looked it up, through Ancestry.com. I found I was from a French slave master. And that night, August 6, 1990, as a got my X. I was known as Daniel 3X. When I spoke, I had the FOI stand, not to brag or anything.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The fear that I had. Because look at this, brother Joshua. I was a walking fool before coming to Islam, had my share of the sin. After accepting Islam, some got the hell away from me, and which I didn't care. But I was home amongst the backbone of the Nation of Islam, the FOI.
Yes, praise be to Allah.
And the brother who really welcomed me in open arms, Brother Khalil Muhammad, may Allah be pleased with him. He's known as Brother Johnny 2X. He welcomed me and he told me, he said, brother, I never forget it. You young brothers, you doing the right thing. Accepting Islam is the only way, dear brother. And I said, yes, sir. So my first time soldiering as a registered Muslim, that week was on a Saturday at the Bud Billiken Parade. And Brother Joshua, we and some more brothers, we walked from 35th and King Drive to 47th and King Drive. When I was out there, my classmates from high school saw me. Hey man, you with Farrakhan? There was some sisters that graduated with me. They stopped and got the paper from me. And that Monday, my first FOI class, when we went out to Gary, Indiana, to put the posters up for the minister speaker at Gary, Indiana, that Wednesday or that week. And on my way to Gary, Indiana, I was with an older brother named Brother Lonnie. We was in the van. It was about 5 or 6 of us. We was following the caravan. Brother had a flat tire. He pulled over to the side, and brother, I saw a gas. I said, brother, there's a gas station. We need to get somebody help us with the spare tires, something like that. So Brother Lonnie and I walked together, and 2 Hispanic detectives stopped us. And they was questioning us. And we told them what was going on. And they was cordial. So they said, we'll take you out to the gas station, take me and Brother Lonnie. And they took us. We had us in the back seat. And when we pulled up to the gas station, some people said, what the hell, what's going on? Why they got him in the back seat? So we told the owner of the gas station what was going on. And we drove back with him in his tow truck. He helped us with a spare tire. After we got that done, we called the mosque and told him what was going on. Came back to the gas station and gave them final, paid them, whatever the amount of cost to help them fix the tire.
Yes, sir.
And gave them a free final call newspaper.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful. Okay, and thank you all for watching the People's Podcast. People are giving you the greetings, sir, as well. And
yes,
a brother named Jamal Muhammad says, oh, first of all, Brother Damien is giving you love. My sister Miriam, Sister Naima. Brother Jamal says, Brother Daniel in high school was his man's. He introduced him to the teachings, top
Yes,
soldiers.
sir.
To Allah.
He was a classmate of mine, class in 1991. Beautiful brother.
Praise be to
In a
Allah.
frame.
Praise be to Allah. Okay, excellent. My next question is, what was Brother Abdul Walid, the former editor, what was he like?
You know, I'm going to say it like what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, a no-nonsense brother. But when I recalled a few times, he was teaching on a Wednesday night, you know, when he was, you know, talking about these hog eaters. And he was, you know, doing a little imitation, how just snorting and carrying on. And we had a laugh. I was falling out laughing. He was laughing right along with the rest of us.
Yes, sir.
But he was, you know, a no-nonsense brother, in my humble opinion, a beautiful, beautiful brother.
Praise be to Allah. What was it like? You said the Most High Louis Farrakhan came into your orientation class. What was it like to be in Chicago and be able to see him close like that and be able to have interactions with him?
Well, I would say this, brother Joshua. At that time, I felt overjoyed seeing the man in our midst.
Yes, sir.
And when the brothers who was in the orientation class, one brother I recall, he asked him a question on the how to eat to live or something like that. And the brother, he explained to the brother about how to eat to live from the book. I think it was a chapter or verse from the How to Eat to Live in the How to Eat to Live book. So it was beautiful for me.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. Wonderful. And I want to thank you for your sacrifice and thank your family for their sacrifice as well. My next question for you, sir, is how was it leading up to the Million Man March and how did that impact you personally?
Okay. I want to go back as a First Savior's Day as a registered Muslim, Brother Joshua, Detroit, Michigan. This was 2 months after I got my ex. We was in Detroit. I came on a Sunday of the lecture, and I was watching one of the brothers' table. He had clean and fresh products. And this old white man, he was wandering aimlessly. And he tried to light a cigarette. And I said, he tried to set the table on fire. My instinct, I grabbed him real quick. And I used the King's language towards him. I said, "You white so-and-so?" And I was going upside his head. And the brother next to me helping me, we was throwing him out. I was mainly hitting him upside the head, busting his nose and what have you. And some more brothers helped me carry him out from London, England. And I threw him out. I said, "Get your white," I was, at that time, gung-ho and zealous.
Yes, sir.
Get your white so-and-so out of here. I was gritting my teeth. He was bleeding and he was crying like a baby. But the main thing what was an honor to seeing the blood brothers of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad sitting on the stage when the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaching.
Praise be to Allah. Okay, beautiful. Okay, the Million Man March, sir, how did that affect you?
Well, that affected me a great deal, but leading into it, the week before, I remember coming from the bank. I was downtown Chicago. See, back then, when we used to soldier with the Final Call newspaper, we would be on the corner of Randolph and State. So it used to be a 99-cent store on the corner before Borders was put up, Borders bookstore. And I was standing on that corner. A brother was standing in the corner where Walgreens used to be, and the brother standing on the corner across from me. So one day I was coming from the bank, and I saw one of the brothers soldiers. He was arguing with this white fella. And this was a few days after O.J. Simpson got acquitted. He was arguing. I said, "Wait a minute." And I saw what was going on. I'm 23 years old. I'm running. I said, he ain't messing with none of my brothers. And I ran. I said, man, get your wife so-and-so. He ran like a scared rabbit. And the brothers was glad to see me. And it was a brother, lost found brother with a Caucasian woman making some comments. I exchanged some words with the brother, put him in his place. So before going to the Million Man March, I remember my mom was asking me, was I going? I said, Mom, you know I'm going.
Yes, sir.
And some other people, I said, I'm going. So when I was going to the Million Man March, I took flight to Washington, D.C., United Airlines. And my mom and some of my family members watching my house, they tape record the Million Man March for me. And a week after during the time of the Million Man March, the funny thing, I don't think you might remember, Brother Joshua, when some Koreans was calling themselves selling some things to our people, our brothers.
No, sir, I'm not familiar.
Okay, it was there also. And we had to make, me and some more brothers, we had to make the Koreans move. I said, no, you're not going to get rich off of my brothers during this time of solidarity. And he moved, the Korean moved. And
yes,
I
sir.
remember an older brother, there was a lost found brother was telling the Korean off. And he said, I'm glad you all made a move. I said, thank you, brother. But the week after the Million Man March, my father called me. He said, hey, Daniel, I went to the Million Man March. And he said, I got some things. I said, Dad, I went. Why you didn't call me to go with me? It was so, but I'm going to say it like this, Brother Joshua. He went with his brother, but his brother had a different opinion about the march. Saying some things in a derogatory way, which I'm not going to go into. But other, people that I know personally that went was glad, was happy because 1 million, near 2 million showed up on the Washington Mall. That was recorded. We recorded the history.
Praise be to
despite
God.
what the enemy said about the Million Man March.
Yes, sir. And Brother Daniel, I have a question. What advice would you give to younger believers and younger people coming up to sustain 30 years in a nation like you have, sir?
The main thing is, I'm gonna say two things. Number one, when you decide to accept his teachings, if your mother, your family, or friends got something against it, especially your family, be the shining example for your family. And number two, if your friends have something against it, so-called friends, and try to pull you away, you divorce yourself from them. Even though your family, those are the ones who will really try you, but that's your trial. But if you hold to the grip of Islam, you will be the winner. And you will be the shining example for those who have something against it. And they, especially your mother and father, they care for you, but they do it out of love, or they have a misunderstanding about the Nation of Islam. But when you be the shining example, they say, look what Allah, Elijah, and Farrakhan has did for my son and did for my daughter.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. And Brother Daniel, what do you want your legacy to be, sir?
Well, my legacy, I wanted to be a lover of the three: Master Fard Muhammad, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, a soldier in the mighty FOI, no nonsense, and the defender of the three.
Praise
and
be
let me
to
add
Allah.
to this, Brother Joshua.
Yes, sir.
What we were doing in social media, the defenders of Farrakhan.
Yes, sir.
The minister said this in FOI class back in 2001. He can't always defend himself, nor his ministers, but as soldiers, we have to defend the minister.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I have I'm not bragging, because of the Quran says Allah hates the conceited boaster.
Yes, sir.
I have such a unique way of defending the minister. And I would do it putting fire on your behind if you get out of turn. But I would be diplomatic in a way. But if I see, let me put it this way. You raise a question, if I see if it's sincere, that's one thing. But if I see you on something trying to get an argument going, I will shut you down.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But if you don't get the message, then I have to put the fire on your backside.
Yes, sir.
And I'm not doing it out of emotion. I'll just do it because the love that I have for those three and the love for my nation.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you, sir. And I want to thank you for your sacrifice and thank your family for their sacrifice as well, Brother Daniel. Brother Daniel, you've always been a sincere brother, and people have shown nothing but love, and you've shown nothing but love to me and my family. And I thank
sir.
you.
And you know, Brother Josh, excuse me for cutting you off. One thing I want to add, the experience with your dad as Supreme Captain, my first time meeting your father, I had an hour conversation with your dad. I was holding course at MUI, 18 years old. And another thing, when your dad's first time was installed as Supreme Captain, when he came and speak to the FY that first Monday night as Supreme Captain.
Yes, sir.
He said, the brothers who are in high school, stand up. And one of the brothers said, brother, you in high school? I thought you was 25 years old. I said, brother, I'm 18 years old, I'm a senior. And I said to the Supreme, I said, Brother Supreme, what about the brothers that graduating from high school and high school, this year, class in 1991. And he said, brothers that's graduating from class in 1991 from high school, stand up. I stood up, we went up there, saluted your dad. And, the whole FOI class busted up laughing. And, and another thing, I forgot to share this with you.
Yes, sir.
Some experiences, my experience with Mother Tynetta.
Yes, sir. Please do.
This was that same Monday night when your dad first time speaking to the FOI.
Yes, sir.
And I remember my lieutenant at the time, Brother Michael. He called me. I was getting off from school. I was getting rested, getting ready for class. He said, Brother Dan, you going to class? I said, yes, sir. He said, I want you to go with me to O'Hare Airport to pick up Mother Tynetta. I said, yes, sir. So we went there, and where we were picking up, wherever terminal she was coming from O'Hare. Now, Mother Tynetta was coming, I was standing out holding the back door for her, Brother Michael's vehicle. And when she was teaching, my head was spinning. My mind was spinning.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And when I got to class, Brother Abdullah was the first officer. And he said, Brother Dan, you okay, brother? I said, Brother First. I said, just got through dropping Mother Tynetta off at the National House. And my head is spinning. And he kind of smiled at me. He said, it happens. He said to me, brother, it happens that way. But the second experience, May of 2012, 21 years later, that was May 1991, the first time. I got a text from one of the brothers, told me one of the brothers gonna pick me up to help escort Mother Tynetta to her daughter's house. So I rode with the brother. I showed him another way how to get to O'Hare because traffic, rush hour.
Yes, sir.
So I showed him how to do it. We got there, and she was with the Vanguard. So when we got to her daughter Medea's house, and Mother Tynetta was talking with me, and I said, Mother Tynetta, ma'am, and I told her the experience, listening to her the first time, meeting her the first time, was May of 1991. And I was telling her, and Mother Tynetta busted up laughing. And she told her daughter what I told her. And they, the family fell out busting up laughing, Brother Joshua.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And my second experience, meeting Brother Jabril. And myself and Brother Leotis, this was in 92, picked up Brother Jabril. And that was a beautiful experience. And then coming across him again in person after a believers meeting in 2012, I greeted Brother Jabril. He hugged me and rubbed my head.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I ain't had no hair anymore.
Yes,
and
sir.
he told me, he whispered, he said, I remember you back in 1992. And I was like, wow. And one of the brothers said, what did he say to you? I told him. He said, wow, that blew him away. And I was like, one thing, being in this great nation, you have experienced some beautiful, you have your ups and your downs. But one thing, the ones that stood with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, still present or returned to Allah, you always have great memories of those.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Even Brother Khaled, despite whatever he contributed to the nation, push aside what the differences he had with Minister Farrakhan.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All of those. But you gotta have joy. But I still have, despite what's going on now, I still have joy being in this great nation.
Praise be to Allah. And that means a lot, Brother Daniel, especially for the younger generation who's coming up and who needs to know, and we are trying to learn how to keep our faith. Brother Daniel, I have one more question, but I just want to stop for a commercial break.
Yes, sir.
My brother Rashad and his business partner Jamal, street premiere video production and editing. They have 4K drones. They work on television and video shoots and movie shoots, and they are working as we speak. Thank you for your street premiere sponsorship. My sister Miriam has a children's book and a coloring book, ABC I Love Me. Thank you very much, Sister Miriam. It is on Amazon. Please make sure we support. My sister Naima, Stay On Point Dance Academy LLC, is on Instagram. She teaches virtual ballet to young women all across the world. Supreme Men's Clothing, St. Louis, Missouri, 140-10835 West Florissant Avenue. The phone number is 314-528-5555. Our brother's going to keep you fresh. He's going to keep you dripping with some new clothes. BMW Entertainment in Phoenix, Brother Ronald. They do event planning all across the country. Brother Kenneth Muhammad, Bowtie Maker Extraordinaire, 917-337-1380. Supreme Team Insurance, that's Todd X. McGraw, 803-521-2787. Get your insurance from Brother Todd X. McGraw. Baby Bean Pies out in Oakland, California. Our brother Carlton and Sister Zakiya Muhammad. Sister Shelly Hassan, Exodus, A New Way of Credit, restoration.com. Make sure you get your credit from our sister, Brother Chantil X, the Express, the X Factor in Transportation and Logistics out of Houston, Texas. Sister Serena Woodford in Fort Lauderdale, designsofcomposure.com, hollytexture.com, homemade hair and skincare products. Also, Maurice D. Muhammad, 24 karat gold by the gram and 10th, therealmoney.online/Asiatic cents. Our brother is selling gold. Make sure if you need some gold, you reach out to our brother. I'm coming right back to you, Brother Daniel. Sister Tia Muhammad, Raising Black Millionaires flashcards. She's teaching economic empowerment and development to young children all across the country and the world. My father's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ, AbdulSharif.com. Thank you very much, Dad, for your support. Last but not least, my two books, which are on Amazon, No Father, No Excuse. It is on Amazon. And Cleopatra, my children's book. Thank you all very much. If you would like to sponsor an episode, $ the People's Podcast on Cash App, and we will promote your business on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube as well. Brother Daniel, I'm just very inspired by your strength and what helped you balance the military and the spiritual side in yourself, sir?
Well, I look at it like this, brother. My faith in Allah and and I always say this about me before coming to the nation. I was an empty vessel waiting to be filled when I first came to the nation, and being trained by, those who are a position of authority in
Yes,
the
sir.
nation of Islam, coming from Mosque Mariam. Brother Ali, who used to be Brother Frank, my first Supreme Captain.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Dad, Brother Mustafa Farrakhan, the Assistant Supreme, who was Brother Abdul Aziz, Brother Dwayne, all those who trained the body of men.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The pressure cook, which is Chicago.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And this is why I'm very humble to do this interview, because we all in the nation has a story to tell.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I say this honestly, I have such a unique way that I came into the nation, because I was looking for something for a long time. Like the minister said, I've been looking for and longing for this man all the days of my life, referring to the most honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
And
yes, sir.
I was looking for something not also be a part of, but kept me abroad. And even my mother, may Allah be pleased with her, knew that I was coming in that direction. And one thing I'm gonna say this about my mother, she's the one kept me, when I was processing, helped me study. Helped me with my Savior's letter, Brother Joshua.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir.
And she also, when I came into Islam, when I was being prosecuted, not face to face, but behind the back, they would come at my mom. My mom was the defender of her own son.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that's what type of woman she was.
Praise be to
She
Allah.
even came with me to Savior's Day 2007 in Detroit, Michigan.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And she enjoyed herself.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I want to thank you, Brother Daniel. Thank your mother.
Yes, sir.
Thank your family. And I'm honored and humbled.
Also, Brother Joshua, the small world, my cousin, Brother Abdul Malik, used to be Brother Warren 2X.
Okay,
See,
yes, sir.
See, I forgot to share this with you, dear brother.
Yes, sir.
When I was already in Islam, when he was out there in the world, when I used to leave from my aunt's house going to the mosque, him and my other cousin, who's in the life at the time, saw me. They was like, look at me, like, what this dude dressed up like this for? But when he was incarcerated, when I found out he accepted the teachings, I told my cousin, tell him to call me. And he called me, and I, advised him. After he came out of prison, advised him and showed him different things, how to go about. He took that advice from me.
Praise be to Allah. That's excellent. And it is a small world, sir. I want to thank you all for watching the People's Podcast, and I want to thank you, Brother Daniel Muhammad, for
You're welcome, sir.
being our guest. May Allah continue to bless you, soldier.
Yes, sir. Send your family greetings, brother, and I love your family.
Praise be to Allah, and we love you more, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, brother. Wa alaikum salam.